Greetings from Kansas City. This is Renee Benson, and you are listening to and watching the AV Life.
Hi, this is Nancy Blanchard from Williams AV, and you are listening to and watching the AV Life.
And I'm your host, Tim Van Wert from Rutgers University. And I'm really supporting Rutgers today because this is a higher ed edition of the AV Life. And you are watching and listening to us. So yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you tend to be listening to us. Welcome to the AV Life. Before we get into our guests for today, first, I just wanted to, for those who tweeted, send out messages and things like that, I really want to say thank you for your support over these last couple of weeks. Just I'll put it out there for all of our listeners. We've lost 2 weeks of the AV Life. Mainly, I lost my mom to Alzheimer's 2 weeks ago. And so, or at the time when you hear this, it'll be almost 3 weeks. It's interesting when you lose a parent, and when it comes to Alzheimer's, it's a disease that it strips away the things that made that person who they are. Anyway, but I had a lot of support from everybody here, the crew on the AV Life, all those AV tweeps out there, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for that. And you know, my family appreciates the support, and I appreciate it as well. And I'm truly humbled at how awesome all you people are. So, but okay, enough of that. I didn't want to bring down the whole conversation. So anyway, how's everyone doing? It's been a couple weeks. We're back here. Nancy, how you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, as I was saying, just been really, really busy. And I finally am getting out on the road the last week of August, going to our office. Today was 2 years for me with Williams. And so
happy anniversary.
Thank you. I'll be spending a week out in Eden Prairie, and looking forward to, you know, connecting with everybody in the office. I mean, there are people there that I haven't even met. We have a new CEO, so it'll be good.
Oh, good.
I know you've
How
been
about you, Renee?
a while, right? You've been trying to get out there.
Yeah, 2019 is the last time I was out there.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is wild. And you, Renee, how you doing? How was your flight back last week?
Okay.
When did you eventually leave?
Quarter after 12.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
We were super delayed. Yeah, it's just, you know, I think the flights are just really weird right now. They're short pilots, they're short staffed. They don't have the same routes like they used to have, yet people are traveling. So it's kind of, you know, they shut down a bunch of flights because of weather. I thought they would just do that to us, but I guess they were just bound and determined to get us out of there. So, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, a lot of families traveling, you know, it was a lot of children and families that you could tell it was traveling. So it'll be interesting to see the next time I fly at the end of the month. I think most of the kids will be back in school, right? So it should be coming to an end. So it will be interesting to see how much of the business travel is back to normal or not.
Right, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, before we get too much into that, let's bring in our guests, and because we are actually outnumbered tonight, folks. There's 3 of us. There are 3 of us crew, and I got 4 guests tonight from various higher ed institutions across the country. I'm just going to kind of work through the grid here, and we're going to go through there. So the first one I've got up here is Kevin Hartman. Introduce yourself. Give us a 20-second elevator spiel about who you are and what university you're from, and take it away, Kevin.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me. Kevin Hartman from the University of Buffalo. We're part of the State University of New York system. I specifically work in our School of Management. I'm an instructional support associate. Pre-COVID times, I have a classroom with a switcher and some PTC cameras, some recording classes that are then posted online for students to view later. And then during COVID, I've been training instructors in the use of Panopto and the use of Zoom, and recording a couple classes here and there for the instructors who are still coming in. Last fall of 20 and spring of 21, most of our instructors, you know, they were teaching online from home. We had a couple who came in and taught either online or a hybrid high flex format.
Very cool. All right. Well, welcome to the show and glad
Thank
to
you.
have you. Moving across to Thomas Love. How are you, Thomas?
I'm doing all right. How are you tonight? My name's Thomas Love. I oversee at community college, and I deal with all classroom and classroom AV systems across all of our 6 centers and locations.
Wow. That's a quite a I think that's quite a spread there, Tom.
Yeah, I want to say it's about 400 classrooms, 350.
That's I was gonna say, yeah, I got 300 under my jurisdiction. So it's yeah, I understand that.
Makes the days.
Yeah. Well, glad to have you join us tonight, Thomas. And so the next two, I believe, are both repeats. I believe I know one of them is. I'm not sure about the other. Hey, Mark Eggert from McAllister. You've joined us before, haven't you?
I have not.
You have not. I feel like you have. I think it was because like that whole 2019 year, I feel like I saw you so much in that one year, and I think that's why. So
Probably between CCUMC and HETMA, and I know
Yeah.
I was on a certain somebody else's podcast twice that year as well.
that would be, yes, that's okay. Well,
Yeah.
if we need to bring him up, that's okay. But you know,
Okay.
he's not here, so yeah,
He is not here.
he is not here. So
So I'm
he who
Mark
shall
Eggert.
not be named.
Yes, thou who shall not be named. I am Mark Eggert. I'm with McAllister College in St. Paul, Minnesota. I am one of 2 AV technicians, and we split the roles where one primarily is for event support, which is not me, and then the other role, which is mine, which is classroom and supporting the systems that are in event spaces. So we have, when you factor in conference rooms in different event spaces, there's probably 25 or 30 different event spaces on campus, and then about 130 classrooms. And then we have one remote site elsewhere in the Twin Cities that we also do support, which has very, very periodic use. We have a biology study area on the Mississippi River in the southeastern part of the Twin Cities that also is part of our part of also what we do. We also support. So and I end up being second tier support. Our students in our help desk field all the initial phone calls for trouble and issues, and then when they can't handle it, then it gets funneled to me. And for this past year and a half, most of our faculty were teaching from home. I was on campus the whole time. For the few people that were teaching hybrid or teaching from campus.
All right. I'd say that you've definitely got your plate full there, Mark.
Yes.
Oh,
Who's next on your list, on your grid?
yeah. Sorry, I was waiting. I saw your chat
Yeah.
message, Renee. So I didn't end up with like some quirky
Or
mid
maybe you look
talking.
up.
Did you get that? Because Will had a great face on. Yeah, I hope you caught that. And last but certainly not least, you
Sorry.
did?
I just saw it. Yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Thank you, Will.
Well, and then you'll have to check Twitter, or you'll have to check on YouTube to see Will's face there for that split second. And like I said, last but certainly not least, Will DeWitt. How are you, Will?
Hey there, I'm doing good. I'm Will DeWitt. I work for the College of Charleston. We handle the classroom and conference rooms, as well as live and broadcast events. So most things AV related.
Very cool. All right. Well, and Will is the returner.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just, like I said, it feels like I've seen Mark everywhere. So that's why. So so we invited the higher ed folk here tonight because we're in the middle of August, and I mean, for me, classes start September 1st. Today I was lugging around two 220-inch diagonal screens and one 89-inch diagonal screen, and getting those into classrooms that the carpenters are ready to mount them in the ceiling. And I've got all sorts of, I'm trying to get all sorts of technology in, and it's the most busy I've been probably in the last 18 months, like in a short period of time. We've been busy over the course of the 18 months, but this is the like last summer didn't feel like this for me. So, this summer now is like, okay, yeah, this is the 2 weeks before classes start rush of let's tie up all the loose ends, make sure everything's ready to go, final testing and go, so that's, so I wanted to bring you guys in here, give you a chance to air your grievances or whatever it might be. We need Spence. That's what we need. We need Spence.
Spence. So how is it going getting your product in? Are you getting all your items are arriving on time and all that?
No. Depends. And I put it in the Slack channel on either was HETMA or the higher ed AVIT group. Some of the product I can get in, no problem. Some of our standard stuff, but the flip side is that some of the more expensive product I can get, and our vendors have been working with us on the pricing, because I guess,
You gotta make a sale.
You got to make a sale. Some sale is better than no sale,
Right.
or a sale now is better than a sale in the fourth quarter, or depending on how the PO, because depending for some universities, depending on when the order is finally wrapped up, that's when everybody gets paid. So if it's waiting until November, December for product,
Yeah.
you're not going to get, that's a fourth quarter hit as opposed to a third quarter.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we've got a couple classrooms that, for whatever, we don't know why yet, they keep falling off the line, and there's some older CP3s in the room. So one of the options might be to replace them with a CP4.
mhm.
And our integrator was like, if we got some, we can get them in, but if not, it might be a little while and some other things. So
Mhm.
The classrooms that we've been upgrading this summer, just about all product has come in. There were a few transmitters that actually they were due in yesterday. So those will be going in tomorrow and Monday. We've been told, as far as projectors go, that we should be expecting that, well, if we're lucky, they may come by fall break, which will be the latter part of October, and possibly not until semester break at Christmas.
Wow.
You need
Well,
to
yeah.
Yeah, I've got one wall mount that I'm waiting on. Wall mount deals with the balance box for an 6-inch display.
Okay.
And order late.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I lost time.
I think we're losing. Yeah,
The van.
yeah, we're kind of losing Tom there. But yeah, we have Epsons that we were getting to the L610s. Or 630s, excuse me, 630s are the latest model. And what we ended up doing is we worked out a deal to get the 730s, because they had those. I got those within like a week, because they had those in stock and they were able to push those along. But everyone's been jumping on the L630 laser projectors, and so it's been interesting.
Ours was the new 530. And
530.
Yeah. Yep. Just can't get them. I mean, I think I end up getting the first 4 or 5 projectors I ordered, and then the remaining 10 or 12 that I'm waiting for are indefinitely back ordered right now.
I basically started telling people a month ago when they asked for stuff, if you haven't already got it in by now, it's not happening before fall. In nicer terms than that, but I mean,
At one point last week, we had 32 containers sitting at the port with product.
No way.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, 32, a lot. And they kind of shut some things down at the port. So we thought they were coming in, and then they finally hit the road. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, because they're all spoken for. The minute we get it and unload and it goes out, and it's crazy. But we're going to be in a better shape here in about 4 weeks. We've got a coming over, so.
Well, due to my internet connection, I put my video to hopefully
Let me know.
the audio working better.
Yeah.
Say that again, Thomas.
I said I've killed my video, so hopefully my audio will be better at least. If nothing
Yes,
else.
it actually, this is
Much
way better now. So,
Hey, Renee, what
sorry for
point
not
is
having
that?
video, but oh well. One of those kind of days.
Renee, what port was that? I just read a quick blurb somewhere about there was a port where someone tested positive and they like basically shut it down.
LA.
Yeah, that was LA Long Beach.
it was LA. Yeah.
Yep. So it's like it's
Yeah.
so close. I almost called Joe Way and say, Joe, go down, drive down and go do your thing. Pull up a truck and get me some.
Joe would do that too.
Yes, he
Yeah, he
would.
probably would. Yeah.
Because he said he can see it from where he lives, right? That he sees the containers out.
Mhm.
full down.
Yeah.
So,
I talked with the CEO of the Charleston, South Carolina ports. Oh, this was 2 years ago. And he was saying that 30% of their crane workforce was going to be retiring in the next 5 years. And that's a job that starts off at like $60K.
wow. Well, and that's what I think happened with a lot of the truck drivers too. Like a lot of them just went ahead and took it early retirement or retired. And so we're having a hard time even just getting, the freight companies to have truck drivers to go get the stuff. So it's kind of like anything that can go wrong in the process, every step of the way seems to be happening. So we've all just got to.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Granted, I've been lucky. I've not had a problem getting product in because most of the stuff had been ordered in earlier because of other stuff. Our problem would be getting the scheduling of contractors to come in to install the equipment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Got that issue too.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were just the opposite. So we had our integrator ready to go, and where for us our board meets three times a year, and the last time that they meet is right before commencement because they approved the slate of candidates to graduate. Well, this year they delayed approving the budget in our fiscal year. We're one of those rare schools whose fiscal year starts on June 1 instead of July 1. And they officially approved our budget like 2 weeks before the beginning of the fiscal year.
Ooh.
And so here I am. I mean, I've got, orders, ready to place, POs ready to go out. And I can't because officially the board hadn't approved our budget yet.
Hmm.
Dang.
Yeah.
So
I was
we
gonna
were
say, well,
delayed.
yeah. And that was part of it. We had the similar thing with our budget. It was just wait and wait and wait and wait. And it's like, all right, well, we have to order something or else we're not gonna have anything.
Gotta get in line.
Yeah.
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 So,
The classroom I work in now, had it not been for COVID, we would have been updating it last summer.
Mhm.
And the budget, everything got killed. So now we're hoping for next year to be able to, we got the funds approved. Now we just have to figure out the equipment we want for it. So yeah, it's time. It was last updated in 2014.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
7-year cycle. So that's
7
about
years.
right.
Yeah, 7 years cycle.
So we
Well,
have
and,
we have a slate. We have a slate of rooms that because we thought our budget was actually going to get cut. So we have a slate of rooms that we put on reserve, thinking that we weren't going to do them this year, and then our budget ended up not getting cut. So they're going to go at semester break, and we're actually going to start putting those proposals together and getting those orders in now, just because of the supply chain issues, so that we don't end up, because we have a month. It's not like in the summer where we have 3 months and we have a little bit more of a cushion, because like everybody else, we only have a month. So we have to have all of our ducks in a row. And so we're gonna get that ball rolling like now.
Are you
I
guys
know that
doing
after-
operational checks or like sweeps of classrooms to see what's working, what's not? How are y'all handling that?
We are
we
in the
have been.
process of that right now.
Yeah, we're doing that
Yeah.
right now. And I actually got approval from our interim CTO that after the semester starts, I need to meet with our head person for user support for doing computers for the classrooms and our head maintenance person for facilities and grounds to go through and negotiate our strategic plan for the next 3 years for updating all of our classroom control systems. Because I found out something else about our one vendor who's doing one of the controls had retired her product, and now I got to go through and change it all out over the course of that time frame, so that way I can still support new equipment in the future. So loads of fun.
Well, yeah, and we've started doing the same thing. We are the other division of my team. They've been out there doing the tests and opening tickets, and we've been running behind them, fixing little things as we go along. And then it's funny, we had this whole conversation, I don't know, about 2 or 3 months ago, and we were like, should we have just gone around and shut off all the systems? Because they all sat there dormant for now we got Mario. All right.
Yeah, my phone alert's going off because apparently there's storms in the area. It's not in the area yet, but it's close enough that it's wanting to alert me. It's like, oh, hey, there's severe thunderstorms coming your way.
All right. Well, hopefully everything's okay out by you. Hopefully it doesn't hit you too hard.
It just
It shouldn't hit me too bad, but if I drop off, that may be the reason why.
Okay, good to know. So, yeah. So we had it's like, should we have just shut down everything? Because yeah, all of them were sitting powered up, active, but dormant for a year and a half. It's like, was it better to kill them all and then go back and like turn on the systems as needed? And then eventually we just determined it was like, you know what? It's just easier to leave everything on, because then we could update all the software as we normally would. Just keep everything that way. If a faculty member needed to get into a classroom, it was ready and it was up to date. You know, we couldn't play that game of, oh, all right, well, let's get over there and find out where we're at with software updates, find out where we are with the hardware. And then also, yeah, who knows? Maybe it won't turn on. So, and then that's a whole nother thing. But yeah,
that's where we wound up too.
Yeah.
Just leaving it on. And even though the rooms a lot of times aren't air conditioned during the summer, we've had so many things not turn on when we go back in to turn them on that we just leave them on, and that way at least we know if they shut off.
Yeah, we have scheduled power outages every once in a while. That's the only time really we power everything down in the room, and then the next day it's just plug everything back in and see what didn't come back up, if anything.
Right.
Yeah, we have to worry about hurricanes and stuff down here, so that's just kind of our go-to.
Yeah, but we are kind of getting back to, I think, Will's question. We're doing our tech checks, and we're also running through classrooms that faculty may have been using a classroom in a year or so, making sure they know how everything operates still, and finding out what they're going to use and not use. The thing I find interesting is I handle a lot of our, we use, before we had Zoom in 2020, we were using Panopto for everything, and now we have both. And so we have the ability to schedule the recordings in some classrooms. So I've been saying, okay, so if you're finding the people teaching in these classrooms, and I'm asking them, are you using Zoom, Panopto? Or do you want to pre-schedule? How do you want this to work? And I have so many saying, and I'm finding this reading other articles across higher ed, is we have a lot of instructors saying, oh, I'm face-to-face again. You know, I'm not recording, I'm not streaming anything. And I just find that interesting, because you read about the spikes in some states. I feel like it's inevitable. We're going to see some kind of hybrid, high flex online remote option in a lot of schools now. So I'm kind of curious what everyone's thinks there.
So I will say, yeah, I was actually expecting more in-person classes, and what we're seeing, then at least the ones that are coming through to the help desk, they're saying that, oh, I'm not going to be in the classroom, but the students are going to be in the classroom. Oh, my students, I don't think they're really going to show up, or it's, where's my camera? Because, I think I'm doing converged learning. And I was like, well, when you set up your course, you told us if it was supposed to be converged or not, because you were supposed to be put into the converged room, because we only
Space, right.
have we have only so many of them to do that out of. You know, you can't just call it audible and say, oh, now I'm doing it. Like it doesn't work like that. So
Well, did that change in the last couple of weeks because of the spikes? I mean,
Yep.
you know, or whatever.
I think that's, I
And-
think that's what it, we're 2 weeks away from start of semester, and now the reality is kicking in of, oh, I'm going to be in a classroom again.
Right.
So
We went through
A lot of
last
our
year
instructors-
and sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
a lot of our instructors are actually either in class or doing, online stuff. But all of our classrooms at least have a, decent webcam or Jabra speakerphone, because our classrooms are relatively small seating, 24 seats at the max. And we just have it. It's like, all right, you have the option. You can turn on the camera if you want to. If you don't, not. And some of our students may be going in and not wanting to come into class anyway, and they're just doing it online themselves. So we'll see how it goes this semester.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have,
went through
we have
last year and
11
we put-
classrooms. Go ahead, Will. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we went through last year and put cameras in all of our classrooms as the part of the summer response to COVID. And I think that the thing a lot of people are overlooking is, all right, you're a college student. You have an 8 a.m., a 9 a.m. class. You have the option to call in. Outside of COVID, outside of everything, what are you going to do? Are you going to show up to class, or are you going to tell your parents, yeah, I'm going to class because I want to live on campus and I don't want to live at home, and then roll over in your bed, pull out the laptop and flip it open?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Well, of
do.
course.
Where I work, we do something called digital access, which I kind of referred to at a presentation I did a couple months ago as high flex, before a lot of us knew what the term high flex was, because it's that the classes themselves have hundreds and hundreds of students in them, but the classroom only seats between 50 and 60.
Mm.
So a lot of them are, some will come to class. You'll have dedicated students who always come to class. You have dedicated students who always watch the live stream, but like 90% of them are watching the lecture recorded on their time. And a lot like Will too, we do have cameras in all of our class. We have 11 classrooms in our building. We have cameras in all of them as well, either a tracker, a PTZ, or we have a planar monitors in some of our rooms with the camera and the mic built right in at the teaching station.
So
And again, an instructor could, if they have to, they could call up, their software on their own and record. Another thing I've heard is I had an instructor bring up a great point recently. She's like, and she's teaching face to face, and she said, well, what do I do if a student gets sick or is a close contact that's a quarantine? Do I start recording for 2 weeks or not? Or what happens if I get sick? Do I teach from home? Or if my child, if there's an outbreak in my child's school and I have to be home with my child because now my child's teaching remotely, am I teaching remotely until they go back? There's still a lot of questions here as we go back. And I don't know if there's any good answer. I did see just yesterday, I think University of Texas, San Antonio, they are going online now for the first 3 weeks of their semester. And they start the 23rd of August. So
Yeah, here in California, my son goes to a junior college over by Apple. And I asked him, are they returning back? And he said it's actually a choice. And so he's going to just do it from here instead of going in person.
Yeah, and that's, I'm
why
sure.
not?
Yeah, why not? Right, exactly. Well, and the interesting conversation that came out recently when it came to that was, we were talking like as an IT community, not just AV, but IT as well. There was talk of, oh, why don't we just automatically have Zoom do 1080p? And it's like, okay, great for quality and things like that. It's like, but then, yeah, I see Will shaking his head. It's like, same thing. You have kids on campus that are probably going to try to stream into classes. You're going to have kids at home trying to stream into classes. We're going to be streaming out from our classrooms to all these. 1080p over our network may not necessarily work right. Some of the newer buildings might be fine. Bandwidth will be okay. Switches are a little higher end. Everything will be fine. But then we have some older buildings with older switches. That's not going to work. Like it's great that the kids have that option, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't. And I think if anything COVID has taught us is that that a lot of the students learn in different ways. And I've been saying that the whole time. You know, we need to have this available for them going forward, because they're all going to leverage it in their own way. But from an infrastructure standpoint, we can't just be pushing out 1080p across the entire campus. Like
I
that's
can't
not
wait for my network guys to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus recording and
Yeah.
plus the recording and storage guys.
Right.
We're already
Yeah.
running tight on storage.
Mhm.
Well, and that was the other thing. Yeah, that was the other thing too, is that and actually, luckily, the one of the VPs caught wind of this conversation. He said, "No, it's like we're not doing that. Like this is not."
Yeah.
Like a month. This was like earlier this month. It's like 1 month before the start of the semester is not the time for us to be like experimenting with 1080p.
No.
It's like you're gonna have all the kids hitting the network at the same time. We should have been experimenting with 1080p back in like the spring when kids were home, you know. But so
720 is still good enough.
yeah, exactly.
Standard Zoom
Like
is
even
what,
myself here.
240, 360p at 25 frames per second.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Zoom. Zoom knocks you down. I know Zoom and the recording it is 25. I think they knock down quality on the camera still too.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like,
like even
it's
myself,
standard
it's like-
def, I think.
We did
At my
not.
home, it's like, you see what the video's done for me, because it's like, I had to turn my video off just to be able to have good audio for you guys here. So, could you imagine our students trying to do that level of video? It would
Mhm.
just go through and kill some of their internet.
Comes the storm.
It's all just a game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a game. So we
It's
did
not going to be
not-
lightning. It's just to be Bowser throwing the fire
Ba-doo,
down.
ba-doo.
Yeah.
unlike
Sorry about my
some of
fault.
the
It's like my
rest of
wife's
the-
texting me and my alert's going off. So it's like, yeah. I
unlike
would
some
think
of
that
the
this
rest
one
of
night it
the-
wouldn't be a problem, but
we did not adapt every single classroom to have a camera and microphone in it. We targeted 6 classrooms with built-in microphones, and then 3 of our event spaces that became classrooms last year with auto tracking PTZ, because we figured that there would be a use for that moving forward after post-COVID. And thus far, since we're now planning on a complete return to campus, it's basically going to be up to the faculty member to decide if there is going to be a hybrid or an online component to their class this fall. Considering that, we may, we talked about this before we started recording, but that we may have international students that can't make it back to campus this fall. And most of our faculty don't want to deal with hybrid. They don't want to deal with the online component. They just want to be able to teach in the classroom with a class full of students, and be done, for lack of a better term, be done with what they had to do with the last year and a half.
Right.
Mark, are you centrally scheduled?
Yes.
That
I
was our
think that's
problem, is we're not. So that's why we had to.
Yeah, our registrar handles everything for the entire campus.
I like I said, I see that a lot of what you're saying too, Mark, with instructors, and I hope instructors at least have a backup plan in case something does happen.
Oh, I hope they do too.
Yeah, it's well, and I know our teaching and learning with technology group has been working with some of the professors and having those plan Bs in effect, that way they know what they need to do to go elsewhere. We've given loaners of cameras to faculty as they need to. That's actually, it's funny. That's the interesting thing. I can get webcams this summer. I couldn't do that last summer. But
Right.
this summer I could get webcams. I can't get any other equipment, but I can get webcams this year.
Making up
But-
for it.
Exactly. Like Logitech, Vadio, everybody caught up with that. But yeah, now it's like, you can't get a switcher, but okay. But yeah, so like we've been trying to help them. We would have loved to have outfitted all of our classrooms with cameras. that would have been great. We just did, the funding didn't come to us to do that. The funding went to other technology sections from the CARES Act money. But we were able to go out and get like Logitech Stream Cams, C930, whatever those ones are, all 1080p cameras, by the way, but we don't use them that potential, but yeah, and that's the best we could support them right now, is just to at least say, okay, if you do need to go remote, here's some things for you to do, and we have instructions, and like I said, the TLT folks are doing it as well. And it's been a group effort the entire last 18 months.
And really the video quality doesn't matter that much.
No,
It's on
it's
Zoom.
not.
It's all about the mic. That's what we selected based off of. Because I've got a Logitech Brio in front of me that's supposedly will do 4K, but it's downsampling it to standard def, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
what
the
does it
same
matter?
camera that we gave to all of our faculty for hybrid.
It's called AV, not VA, for a reason, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now,
Oh, it's not
your
just
camera-
it's not
Oh, go
just
ahead, Tim.
alphabetical.
No. And I agree. Your camera, you can make it 320, you could go 720. It's your content that's important. Make sure your screen, if you want to record your screen at 1080, do that, because you need to see the detail in those diagrams or spreadsheets, equations. Document camera, that's a lot different than seeing your face on screen. And yeah, your audio needs to be better.
For sure. I think that's why, somebody put a tweet out today, I think it was Mark Coxon, about the Zoom fatigue. But it really isn't necessarily the Zoom fatigue, it's more the content. The content of, like, okay, we're just kind of over some of these meetings. It's like this is a
Right.
Zoom meeting that could have been a phone call, it's like.
Right.
So,
Are you guys
Yeah,
finding that
agreed.
when instructors are teaching remotely, like say they would be, let's say if they were in person, let's say this was 2019, let's say it was a 3-day-a-week, 50-minute class. Are you finding if they're teaching remotely, they're still trying to do 50-minute lectures, or are they actually trying to maybe like chunk it up, and instead of like one 50-minute lecture, maybe do like 2 15s and a 20 or something?
I think they started 18 months ago, I don't know, whatever, March to May. I think they started like trying to fill that hour and 20 minutes or whatever, between classes. But then I think they came to the realization that they needed to break it up, or that they didn't need to take all that time. They could still cover the same topic in 30 minutes because there's no interruptions. They could be very concise about everything and just let the students replay if they needed to. So that was my feeling and hearing from instructors.
I remember being in school as an undergrad, and we learned quickly that one of our teachers would stop teaching whenever we all started closing our books. Like, that was his cue that the time was up. And so of course we caught on to that. So we just started closing our books earlier and earlier and earlier every class period to cut them off faster, because he was the type that just drone on and on to fill up the time.
that's funny.
And I had an instructor when I was an undergrad. He'd start class. He'd be like, all right, the sooner we get started, the sooner we get finished. Let's go.
Yep, get going. Ours too.
But yeah, that's good that they're chunking it up and kind of making it smaller, because there's been, studies saying shorter videos are better. Length is, depending which study you see. I read, I've seen different lengths listed. Yeah, I think it shows too how, asynchronous is not necessarily a dirty word. Yeah, I know it can be to some instructors and maybe even some AV and IT folks, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can work, and it does work.
I'll be honest, I'm biased because I was homeschooled, and I remember getting VHS tapes in the mail.
Okay.
So yeah, I did that a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was in high school. So it's one of those things I think works for some people, doesn't work for others.
Oh, no, I
Others
agree
need to
with
be
that.
in the room. yeah, it's one of those things, different strokes, different folks. And I think the ones that you hear from are the ones that whatever the current solution isn't working for. And so I think that's something we have to take into consideration
Right.
is what we're doing may be working for some, but we're not going to hear from them. But the ones that we're hearing from, it's not working for. So we've got to accommodate them without throwing out what we're already doing necessarily.
Right. Exactly.
Well, the piece that I'll add to this, because we're starting to see it, is and particularly with Nancy, your employer being here in Minnesota. So with one of the things that we saw with Zoom and hybrid and things online is that there was a significant effort for much better audio. There was much better attention paid to those who needed who needed more assistance, particularly those who have some sort of demonstrated need, whether they're hard of hearing or whatever. And now we're going back to in-person classes, and somebody in an institution like ours, which doesn't have a microphone in every classroom and does not have assistive listening in nearly any of our classrooms. We have assistive listening in just about all of our event spaces, but we're now starting to rethink our approach on dealing with people who have these different demonstrated needs and how we're going to deal with it moving forward, since Zoom has a lot of those tools built in. I mean, the automatic transcript and some of these other things that people had at their fingertips for the last 18 months, now is, for lack of a better term, is almost going away in an instant.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like things like polling and other like as well, like that was, and it's funny, keeping kids engaged, that's what it's really about too. And I keep saying kids, and I know like
They're young adults.
I call
Yeah.
them,
Young
I
adults.
call them that too, Tim. Yeah.
So
You're not
How do
seeing-
you, how
our
do you keep
students-
them engaged? Because I've tried to answer that question. I've had learning designers try to answer that question. I still don't know if there's a good answer.
It's gonna vary from class to class. I mean, that's what it is that
Yeah.
it's a student dynamic that I don't think there's no set rule for that. And I don't know if it's something you could teach. And this is where my my technical knowledge only gets me so far. And then there's the pedagogical side of me that I don't have all that to go along with. So that's where I fall short, is how do you, again, yeah, I agree. How do you keep them engaged when the dynamic changes from class to class? You could be teaching Bio 101, but section 1 behaves one way and section 2 is a whole nother beast. And
Agreed.
so what was that?
I agree with that, because it's there's everyone learns differently, and even all the students in the class will learn differently.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is offer the best tools to the teacher as best as possible, and let them teach the class as they need to be. Like at our college, we have a online class that goes through and deals with all the online students, and they've been getting drug into all the Zoom stuff because of all the COVID and all the online stuff. And they're going through, it's all right, they're trying to teach teachers how to teach that way and still teach their in-person class the way they've been teaching it, and still go through and get the ones who are attending remotely for whatever reason and teach them differently if they need to be. And all that. They've been doing a lot of case studies on that, and it's turning out to be very interesting, and what we need to go through and do to help them get technology in there to make that work right.
I've been telling instructors it's a theater term, but I think it works is break the fourth wall. It's easier said than done, but that's what you have to do. I also tell people, have a TA. I don't care if your class is 5 students or 50 students, make sure you got somebody in there. It's different. I mean, it's easy for me to say that because me being the techie in the room when a live stream or recording is happening, I can easily get to something, but having someone there to kind of help watch your back is huge. but not every instructor is able to get that. Not every department is able to get that, unfortunately. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree with that. You know, if you can afford to get a TA, get the TA. Like that's, I've had, especially with this one faculty member we have who insists on using Big Blue Button for all his video conferencing, and he wants to read the chat box off of Big Blue Button. So we've, in the one classroom, because there's no, he's teaching to full remote students, we've actually brought his confidence monitor closer to the instructor station so that he can read the text off the monitor. Because even though technically the confidence monitor that we put in the back of the room is up to Avixa specs and all that for distance, you still can't read the text on Big Blue Button.
It's too small.
It's too small. So, but if they had a TA, the TA could manage the classroom list and the question list and report back to the professor. And
Yeah, I've had instructors do that.
Yeah, you know, just but unfortunately, yeah, he's in a department that just doesn't have the resources currently to do that, especially when they're basically on skeleton crews, you know, teaching. So
yeah, there's only so much we can do from a tech point of view, because I'd love to give everyone a TA to run the Zoom session, to run all their tech. But I mean, at a certain point, I hate to say it's not our problem, but you've got to realize your 8 a.m. class is going to react way different from your 2 p.m. class, which is going to react way different from your 8 p.m. class. And, you know, it's on us to do the best we can to figure out everything we can to make things easier and better for the teacher. But at a certain point, we've got to focus on what we can affect.
Can we tell an instructor, hey, build 2 minutes at different points in your lecture to just look at the chat? And say, okay, I'm going to look at questions now for the next 30 seconds. And if nothing's here, I'll move on. You know, maybe there's a breaking point in their life, or a natural breaking point, I should say, in their lecture. Maybe they're going from chapter 10 to chapter 11. I don't like telling teachers how to teach. I don't think that's my job. Yeah, I will gladly show them the tech to help them teach. But
yeah, I agree with right there with you. We don't need to be teaching them how to teach. That's what other people are there for. But like I said, our college, we don't have teacher assistants. You know, they just, you know, it's only the teacher in the room. You know, sometimes if they've got a student that they want, they'll select one to do it, but that's about it.
So do you folks have sessions for the teachers to come, and then you go through the technology, or is it, I don't want to say individual because then that's too much, but I don't know what your setup is.
We've been running, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin. You're fine.
Okay. No, we've been running, one of my colleagues has been running like classroom training sessions for instructor. We say, look, come, you know, let me know what room you're in, we'll book it. I've been running sessions on using Panopto and Zoom, either virtually or in person. Our central team is doing a couple of those. They're doing a classroom. They're going to show off like one classroom and kind of say, look, be here. We'll be here for the next 5-6 hours. I'll take a look at this. And we have another group on campus called the Educational Design Collaborative. And we'll do different online things. We've had one learning designer from our school social work. He's talked about like AR, VR, MR, and using that. We've had, you know, our learning designers from our Center of Teaching and Tech, you know, give lessons on Blackboard and, you know, how to engage students. You know, we had somebody talk about using Discord, and someone was talking about, we had somebody talking about Instagram. I'm not quite sure how that fits into an educational setting yet. I'm still a little unsure of that.
TikTok, won't it, Kevin?
What's that?
I think now it'll be TikTok.
Yeah, maybe.
Lord help us.
I'd say Snapchat, but that's way beyond at this point. TikTok is taking over.
We have IT people within my department that are there's 5 of them that are within the college that are within each division or discipline. that are the sort of the link to the faculty, if you will. So they provide assistance to the faculty, whether it's their laptops or in the classroom or using Moodle or, our LMS or, whatever they need. So
I think we started talking about this before we were recording, but as a general rundown, how many people are going to InfoComm for sure?
Well,
you're
yeah, I
going
just need to
for
book.
sure.
yep.
I just need to block. I
I'm
just need to
planning on
book my
going.
flight. Yeah.
And Nancy, you're going for sure.
For sure, so far, yes.
What about NAB? Are you still doing NAB?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm waiting.
It is not knowing, especially for international, since Biden hasn't opened up. So, I
Yeah.
mean, even for them, they're in an influx.
Well, my question was too, is so are we going back to a regular schedule, like NAB next April and will InfoComm be next June, like schedule?
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah. Yep.
That's my assumption.
Yeah.
So ISC will be in February in Barcelona. And then, as you said, less than 6 months later, boom, we got the same show again.
That'll be kind of crazy. I mean, just the amount of money it costs to put on and to attend and to be at that show and then to do it again in just a few months. I wonder if that was going to be. I don't know.
I was kind of hoping InfoComm was going to stay in October because then I could actually consistently go, but I don't. It sounds like they want to get back to June as soon as possible.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, I think the InfoComm thing's gonna hurt at least their education focus, because October is a great time, but this October nobody's going to be able to go relatively to what would be in a normal year.
Right.
But the hardest part. Oh, I'm sorry. The hardest part with having it in June is it's right around the time when schools are out or graduation. So for the 1 year for Vegas for InfoComm, it was the day it started, and my manager had said, "Oh, Nancy, just come after." And I said, "No, I want to be there at the start because I had customers and things." So I got on I left InfoComm at 12, got on a plane, flew back to San Jose because my son was graduating from 8th grade. Went to the ceremony, caught a plane at 10 o'clock, not 10, it was after that, got back and was fighting to stay awake on the plane because I didn't think it would take that much out of you, but got back in at midnight, back to Vegas. And I'm walking through the hotel and you know how they've got, the casinos and everything. And I just want to get to my elevator.
Yeah.
So I found a worker and I said, "Could you please show me?" Because it was at that weird SLS boutique hotel that we were staying at. Harman was there, Avidex was there. It had like mirrors on the ceilings in your bedroom, and it was all like
One of those hotels.
it was really weird. And so the guy on the way was asking me, I guess he wanted to make sure I was staying there. What's your room? And blah, 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 blah. So as soon as I get up, all of a sudden I've got my integrators calling me and saying, "Hey, we just saw you going through the lobby. Come on down for a drink." And I said, "Oh, I can't.
Oh, heck no.
I have to make the show the
Yeah.
next day." But you know what? I couldn't miss his graduation. And if it had been, well, no, actually the same thing that might happen with me if we have InfoComm in June, because he'll be graduating out of 12th grade.
Yeah. Crazy.
Right. And well, in this year, I had to make sure I was on, I probably would have stretched it through the weekend, but the Sunday is Halloween. It's I'm not missing Halloween with my son.
Right.
I don't know what he's going to be this year. He may be Darth Vader. As for those who have seen him make an appearance as Darth Vader on this show before.
He makes Darth Vader.
He does. He takes after his dad very well in that respect.
You're raising him right.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I try. And my wife does too. So, but I made sure that my flight was on Saturday morning, I think. So that way I get back. That way I know I'm back to be ready for, the last minute preparations before Halloween. So it's either way, June or October right now. If it was a little earlier October, this wouldn't have been a problem. But the fact that it's that end of October there,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
it will be interesting. Yeah, I'm just, it's so weird because, I mean, I've been to InfoComm, I don't know, a dozen times, but it's so weird because normally by this stage of the game, you've got everything booked. I mean, you're booked, your booth duty, you've got customer appointments set up, you're ready. And it's just like, hurry up and wait, see who's gonna go, and then you get people who commit to a meeting and then go, okay, now we may not be going. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's gonna be, I think September is gonna be kind of crazy with trying to get last minute either bookings or people to work the booth. I don't know. It's gonna be, it just feels so strange. It felt strange to not be there last year, but this is even stranger to be so up in the air, you know.
And that's
As a
exactly.
vendor, you have a schedule, you know what you're doing, you know, you do this, and this every day, you're exhausted. I mean, even like the 5K and the women's Avixa breakfast are at the same morning. So I'm kind of like, okay, well, which I always do them both. So now what do you do? You know? It's kind of,
Yeah. And I realized that I said yes to Joe Way on the 5K on Thursday morning. And I'm like, uh-oh. It's like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. 6 a.m. on Thursday is going to come way too early. So,
and it's blazing hot in Orlando for that 5K, let me tell you.
Mhm.
But I won't be able to do it now if I go to the breakfast, if I go. But
well, maybe, well,
there's-
it's late October, so maybe it won't be too bad.
oh, true. I'm thinking June. Sorry. Yeah, true.
June, June, July, August in Florida is basically
Yeah.
like terribly,
Yeah.
ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
InfoComm period in June.
Well, October, you at least get the afternoon shower to wet everything down and make it more humid.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If there's one thing that hasn't failed me yet in this whole pandemic thing, it's being too pessimistic. Like every time I feel like every time I'm optimistic, oh yeah, things will be better. No,
No,
every time I'm pessimistic, like, oh, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be even worse.
I know.
Then-
It's like we can start every conversation with, okay, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but
Yeah, it's really tested our patience.
it really has. And especially since everything was, you know, kind of looking up and schools and everything was going great. And then bam, I'll tell you what, these school boards, you know, that are meeting on these quick meeting, K-12 around here. Because Missouri obviously is making national news for all of our hotspot stuff. And it's like, these poor board, I would not want to be on a board, or, I mean,
Mm-mm.
I see some of the Facebook messages on our school board or local school board, and I'm like, ooh, I'm glad my kids are out. Because this is no fun. But
yeah,
It's nasty.
yeah.
yeah. I've been watching the board meetings in my town, and it's
Streaming them.
and well, yeah, we watch the streams, and you know, I'm on Facebook groups and all different groups like that, and it's it's so hot and cold because either you have the parents who are like, yes, let's get these kids back in school, fine, let them wear a mask. No, they can't go back to school. It's like they can't wear masks. It's like, it's so, there's nobody in between, or like there's people like my wife and I who's like, let's just get him back to school. If he's got to wear a mask, fine, let's
Yeah.
get him back in the classroom, because that's where a first grader needs to be.
Yes.
First grader needs to be in school. It's like virtual kindergarten was hell. His teacher was wonderful, but from a parental standpoint, like, because you're constantly having to be there on top of them. Like, you can't just tell them, here, go click on your Google Meet link and go watch your teacher for an hour and a half. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Jumping back to the pedagogy standpoint from a little bit ago, I'm glad I don't have to worry about how to teach, where to teach. I'm just technical. Tell me what you want to achieve. I'll tell you how we're going to do that and how much it'll cost. And here's how we're going to do it. Like, just
That is the nice thing about being on the, AVIT side of things, is that you don't have to, you
Yeah.
know, you don't
It's a
have to
lot
worry
more
about
yes
the
and no
how.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we could do that. No, we can't.
Once it
So-
leaves the computer, I don't care what platform we use. That doesn't matter. Like,
Mhm.
Tim, will your
You wanna
son go back to school or?
As of right now, yeah, they're planning 5 days a week. And now in the state of New Jersey, the governor did declare that all students will wear masks going back in the fall, at least to
Yeah,
start.
That's what it sounds like it's going to be up here too. And mine are going to be 3rd grade and kindergarten.
Yeah.
Same
And then,
here.
I mean, once they approve the vaccine for the younger kids, then hopefully we'll see what happens from there. So that's a whole nother conversation. So
Yeah, our mask mandate just went in for our county Monday. So we're back to public places or.
mhm.
masked up.
Yeah.
What's
and
the
ours-
mask mandates? What's the mask mandates like at everyone's university?
So technically, it's any time you're in an indoor space that's not your office. So if it's you and somebody else anywhere else in an indoor space, you're supposed to wear a mask. Admittedly, I'm not great about that because there's so few people on campus, and I know the people that are there, and I know they're all vaccinated. So the only time I wear a mask, there's one staff member that I know is not vaccinated, and he is the only one I'd wear a mask around because I know. Like, so now,
Our college is
it-
that full masks.
okay.
So for
Yeah,
us,
we're-
it's going to be masks on for the first 3 weeks of school, basically. And so until the, communities are established again, when you're in public spaces outside of your office, we're expected to wear masks because, we won't know other people's vaccine status. I mean, granted, everybody's supposed to have it, but there's a possibility that, some people may not be fully vaccinated by the first day of school.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, and with the exemptions, that's the other part too.
Yeah,
is
there's
that you
also
may have-
exemptions.
Yeah. And that's what when we get back on September 1st, I think things are going to be different on the university grounds. I think a lot of the staff are just kind of taking it that a lot of the staff are vaccinated, especially the ones that are there all the time. So I think there's a kind of a comfort level. And I think once September 1st hits, everyone's going to go back to wearing masks again. And it's
Mhm.
going to be all protocol going forward, just because you have students that are not going to be vaccinated. Even though we mandated it, we were one of the first, as everybody seems to know. We took a lot of heat for that at first, but it's what happens when you're the first one in the pool. And
We had our date was August 2nd, so that you had to have your first shot by August 2nd if you hadn't already
Yep.
gotten it, so that
Mhm.
you were fully vaccinated by September 1st.
right.
So Tim, are kids allowed to go to school if they're not vaccinated?
They have to have an exemption for that. That's basically what it is. It's like, if you're coming on campus, you have to be vaccinated. So,
Okay.
and even more so if you're staying in the dorms.
Right, yeah.
So yeah,
That's us too.
because
Yeah,
The only,
that's-
the only institution in Minnesota that I'm aware of that is not requiring vaccines is the University of Minnesota. And there's a that's a big point of contention with the faculty are threatening to strike over it right now.
Really?
wow.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
the
every
entire-
other institution in Minnesota is requiring.
Was that for the entire system or just the Twin Cities campus?
As far as I know, it's only the Twin Cities campus, but the interesting thing is the entire faculty system wide is a single union. So it could go either way.
That's a very large
Yeah.
enrollment there, correct? Is it like
Yeah.
50,
Yes, it is.
60,000?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the Twin Cities campus by itself is 58,000, 50 to 60,000.
Right.
Mhm.
That's in
You know,
Rutgers
not
territory.
including the outstate
Yeah.
campuses.
Well, is to say, and just to give you percentages, because actually the president of our university sent out an email to all of us the other day. As among the students, we're at over 95% compliance, which is great.
Pretty good.
Yeah, the vaccination requirement has been extended to all the employees in healthcare and public safety positions, where they're 97% compliance, and the overall faculty and staff vaccination rate for those who have uploaded their cards is at 80%. And for the faculty and staff, that was a highly suggested. It's not a mandate for the faculty and staff. It was just highly suggested you get the vaccine. So, you know what? I'll take 80% of the faculty and staff. And it's probably higher. There's probably some that just haven't uploaded it yet. So, and they are trying so hard to get everyone to upload their cards. Like they're doing Amazon gift card giveaways. They've been emailing. It's like whatever we could do to get them to upload their cards so we could make sure everybody's covered. So
have you seen some of the stories now? Apparently some students are like buying fake vaccine cards.
Oh, we knew this was going to happen.
We used to get fake IDs. Now we're having them get fake ID cards.
We talked about this
blows my
a year
mind.
ago. We talked about this last year, Tim, and it was like, I remember paying, going to the dorm and going to so-and-so's room and getting my fake ID. Why aren't they getting fake vaccine cards? Yeah.
Right. And this is what it is. And now and you got places like Broadway where you have to be vaccinated in order to go see a show, or you need to show 72 hours prior of a negative test. And now it's more, I got a tweet from Starland Ballroom here in New Jersey. It's a music venue. Same thing, 72 hours of a test or vaccination. And that's the only way you're getting into a show. So I'm glad that they're putting their foot down about that stuff, because that makes me feel better. I'm still supposed to see Jim Gaffigan in like a month. Like I was like, I'm ready to go. Like, I need my comedy after this show. I've been waiting for this show for about 14 months now because of everything. So
yeah, you're so ready.
Yeah.
Nancy, I've got some friends going out on Labor Day to wine country.
Oh, really?
Oh. Vaccine cards to get in the concert. Or
like
an concert thing.
They're going to the Napa Bottle Rock or something. Like
Bottle
that?
Rock, yeah, but they have to have their cards to get in to the concert. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that go to that. Last year, Labor Day weekend, we had those really bad wildfires to the point that you couldn't even go outside because the air was so thick.
Yeah.
Smoke, and it was eerie orange and things. I actually stayed most of the time in the house just because you couldn't go out. Air quality was horrendous. So hopefully it'll be good up there for them.
Yeah, I hope so too. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the storms are bad here. It's like, I can.
I'm not hearing it. Yeah.
No, I'm not hearing it.
Good. Well, it's coming your way, Thomas.
Yeah, I know. I've already gotten several weather alerts on it.
Yeah.
Most of the radars cleared up for the most part, but it's still pretty heavy at the moment.
Is it rain, tornadoes? What's going on?
My alerts are
Mostly just rain.
Severe thunderstorms. Yeah. Yep.
So I can't really talk about what our live events, or sorry, what our colleges vaccination, mask mandate, any guidelines like that yet, because those come out tomorrow. But we've got a live event that was supposed to be next Thursday that got moved to this coming Monday, with regards to our mandates that are coming out tomorrow. I got a message about that this morning. My whole day was kind of tied up with that because we've moved from an entirely virtual event to a hybrid event, which is going to be fun because we haven't had any experience with that yet.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. So
a sporting event, or is it like a play? What is the event?
It's a virtual town hall. Next Thursday, we were supposed to have a virtual town hall for faculty and staff. We've done, I don't know how many of these. We've between faculty and staff, parents and students. We would average 500-600 people at each event, which is pretty good considering they would have like 100 people at an actual in-person event. And so then today they decided to move next Thursdays to an actual like hybrid event. So we're trying to figure out how to pull off a real in-person hybrid event. So I'm expecting most of the people to be online because let's be honest, who really wants to go to a live town hall when you can just watch it?
Right. Does it need to, but does it really, and in that case, I guess the question is, does it really need to be like a full hybrid event where, questions are put back and forth? Is that what they're looking for, Will? Or are they looking for like an immersive experience, for lack of a better term?
I think that the leadership doesn't feel the feedback from seeing people on screen, because we've been doing the Teams live events where it's basically like just like you're talking on a Teams call, but there's another couple hundred people watching you. So almost a podcast type feel, except they're actually able to send questions in.
Okay.
And I think they want to feel more of the back and forth. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. We've kind of shied away from it because, I mean, the threat of Zoom bombing, the lack of control. But this is something we're kind of headed toward. Really, what I try to call them is, I try to shy away from hybrid, virtual, in person, and go towards more digital first, in person first kind of language, because somebody's getting left out. Either the people that are talking are going to be focused on the screen, or they're going to be focused on the people in the room. It never really works out both ways. So I don't know. This is going to be our first foray into it, but
Good luck to you.
You're
yeah,
going
it's
to
going to be
use
interesting
Teams
to see
again,
how
or
it works
Zoom,
out.
or something else?
We're using the Teams webinar. Actually,
Okay.
we're going back and
Ooh.
forth right now between Teams webinar and Teams just a regular meeting. Honestly, there doesn't seem to be a difference. We've used the Teams live events in the past, which allows us to strictly control who's able to speak, who's able to talk. The Teams webinar, I think, is designed to be kind of equal to the Zoom webinar, which honestly, we're not using Zoom because we don't have the license and we don't want to pay for it. But there doesn't really seem to be much difference between Teams webinar and Teams regular meeting, other than there's like a registration thing.
Mhm.
I didn't even know there was a Teams webinar, a separate thing.
Yeah, I actually
It-
didn't know that either.
Nor
Yeah.
did I, but it's basically what I'm seeing, or what I'm hearing, is that Teams is going head to head with Zoom, because Zoom has all those
Mhm.
features, plus they have the registration feature too.
Yeah, and so does
Yeah.
WebEx. So it's
Right.
Yep.
like if you want to be part of the club, you got to
Right.
have the right parts for it. So
That's all the features
Right.
that you want.
yeah. Mhm.
They added virtual backgrounds as soon as Zoom did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is pretty
Yeah,
fun
and
to watch that go back and forth.
They talked about, I remember reading an article last fall, they talked about some kind of like view where you have your slides over your shoulder, like you're watching the 11 o'clock news in Teams. And I don't know if that was just a prototype and they canned it, or if it's still in development.
Oh, cool.
There's some kind of live PowerPoint thing.
I think Zoom has it too, though.
Zoom's got the PowerPoints as you're like taking up your whole background, like we
Yeah.
do now, and we'd be in the corner. But this, the article I saw, I remember it very much, it had like the person here and next to their shoulder, they had like the insert graphic. It brought me back. I worked in TV news before I worked in higher ed. So it like brought me back to those days for a little bit. And I was excited for a while, but I still haven't seen it.
Yeah,
There you go.
one
That's
I-
it.
Wait,
That's it.
all right.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, Thomas, you were saying?
I heard of Sony's development because of other issues they're having. But yes, it's still on the roadmap. I think it's like 2 versions out possibly, but I don't know for sure. Since we got Teams licensing and Zoom licensing, I get all kinds of weird emails on that stuff.
I'm not getting.
I wish I had one of my guys from the messaging group, because he's always on top of all the Microsoft stuff. It's like, oh, why aren't we using Skype for business? It was included with our Office package. It's like, we should be using Teams. It was also included. Blah blah blah. He would know exactly what I was talking about if I brought him in. So yeah. It was funny. We actually had a whole committee at Rutgers designed that we were supposed to try to decide on a platform for video conferencing to standardize on. And we had actually decided on WebEx because it was included with all of the Cisco hardware and everything that we were getting. And then COVID hit. We made it through the spring and into like the summer. And then the faculty came in and said, we need Zoom. And like there was such an uproar for Zoom, but we ended up adding Zoom to the pile. And now Teams has had an opportunity to catch up with everybody. And now we went from 1 to 3 in a matter of 18 months. So, and then there's Big Blue Button holding, kind of their small corner of the video conferencing world.
Well, the way it's set up in RPC, you got it where Zoom is used for all classroom lecturing, online learning, and Teams is used for all internal meetings. That makes sense.
Okay. That's a good way of breaking it up between the two. Sorry.
Yeah, we
Will, were you
basically
there?
use.
Yeah, go ahead, Will. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, we basically use Zoom for most things. IT tends to use Teams. My team group, whatever, doesn't really like Teams, mostly because we can't differentiate the notifications. So we can't set priorities because we've got basically our help desk group. We can set alerts for that, or separate alerts for people sending us direct messages. Whereas with Teams, it all sounds the same, whether it's just, I don't know, digital signage. Hey, here's an update, or hey, classroom's down. We need somebody running over now.
And there's a lot in
really
Teams
Very
too.
well. I'm
It's like
staring at the taco.
I know, me too.
Sorry,
Renee.
I'll drop it off.
Yeah. I was
Sorry. Oh, I was using there's an app called
Oh, I've heard of that, yeah.
MMHMM,
Yeah.
which actually a really neat app. It's Mac. On older Macs, it doesn't work as well. But yeah, that's what I was doing to do the like slide over the shoulder thing.
Oh, that's how
And-
you do it? Oh,
Yeah.
see, okay. I got
That's a
something to
Mac
play with
only
later.
app, correct?
No, they've got a Windows app now.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah, and there's a free like year subscription for educational users.
Nice. Yeah, I look at Teams and I like Teams, but I feel like they just threw so much in there. It's so easy to get lost.
Its performance is terrible too.
Oh yeah. There were times I've had to like shut down all my video, just like Thomas had to do. I've had to shut down all my video in order to get a good stream going through. Like, I don't know why it just doesn't do as good of a job like managing the audio and like the video and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, poorly optimized.
Yeah.
I was just like, I
Yeah,
gotta
we
look for
have all
this. I gotta
three.
look
We've
for
got-
this app now. Will, you got me. You got me curious.
Yeah, I was using like there's a Giphy plugin. There's a way for you to give control to somebody else. So if you're like presenting, you can have somebody else controlling your slides. There's a lot of interesting stuff on it.
Does it do a lot of the
Slot
same
back
stuff like
to
OBS does?
It does, but more in a more user-friendly way, I would say.
Okay.
And I'm in no way affiliated with them. I've just been playing with it for a while.
Well, I was say I may already be downloading it on my computer, so that'll be. I may not sleep on time tonight, but it'll be all right.
Oh yeah.
Something new to play with. So yeah, I mean, going back to Will with the live events and everything like that. That was really cool, Will. With
Yeah,
the
there's
Game
a
Boy.
game kit.
Yeah, Game Kid, excuse me.
Oh, he's
You know,
been-
we've done like streaming for different live events, but not really in a synchronous converge type experience like that. And actually what happens is a lot of them are outdoors. And that's the other part is like, well, we need to run network to wherever you are for that. And then they don't seem to understand like, well, can't you just use the Wi-Fi? It's like, yeah, not really. It's like, you want it to look good, right? Yeah, we want it to look good. Yeah, we can't use Wi-Fi. So
Oh my gosh, a taco.
it's a will in a box.
That's awesome.
Keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to be careful with because you will annoy people.
This would be like the lawyer who's saying he wasn't a cat in the legal deposition.
I'm
Yeah,
really
but-
not a cat.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well, I was gonna say this has been a great episode, everybody. And I know we
Yeah.
were kind of like hinting about doing the firing range and stuff like that, but I think we're gonna cut it there. I think this is great, and Will's giving us a great demonstration of what does. Maybe they should sponsor. Maybe should sponsor the AV Life and reach out to Joe Way and show us the sponsorship love. We'll have to find them on Twitter and see if we could tag them on the post, get them in. But I want to thank our guests for coming tonight. To Kevin, to Mark, to Will, to Thomas. You guys are, and you guys have been doing some great work at your universities and colleges. It's been, we're almost there, guys. Like we're almost there for the fall, and we could just kind of muster it up for a couple more weeks. And
Yep.
you know what, although I say that, and this could start a whole nother conversation, and I apologize for that, but this is not going to be our typical, okay, September 1st hits and we can kind of get classes started. I have the feeling, at least from my end, is that these projects are going to trickle into the fall. So I guess because of product, really. So so we're gonna have 2 weeks of like we're gonna have 2 weeks of insanity before the start of the semester, and then we're gonna have probably another 2 months of, okay, great, the switchers are in, let's go do those. Like, okay, great, we got our new Mac Minis in, let's go do those. And it's gonna be, that's what our fall is gonna look like, or everything's gonna get held off until winter break. And then it's going to be the most insane winter break that we've had in a couple of years. So,
Well, I give
either
you guys
way,
credit, man. You guys are doing a lot of really difficult things in a difficult time, and still have to, be on the ball and perform. So it's been really interesting to hear what everybody's doing, and it'll be interesting to talk again later, right? To see how your fall went. We should do a recap of, all right, what was the last
Well,
6 months like?
That's a good idea.
Renee,
Yeah.
if they're going to go to Infocom and you're going to be at Infocom, we can all catch up.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I plan on being there, so we could do a live show. Maybe we'll
You do
go
the Hetma
live
show.
on Thursday. Yeah, there you go.
do
Well,
the
then
Hetma show.
yes, there'll be the Hetma show on Friday, and then I'll on Thursday. Maybe I'll we'll go live on a Thursday night. I don't think who's on Thursday night for the Infocom people. Like, does anybody remember who's usually on Thursday? Is that? Oh, that's AV. Isn't that AV karaoke on Thursday night?
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it
It
could.
might
Could
be.
be, I also know the restaurant's also doing something.
Oh, they are doing something.
Restaurant party is always,
It's always on Thursday.
let me look. AV Roki is Tuesday, October 26th.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, geez. First day. Okay. Or at least first day I get there.
Yeah, it's always in the beginning, if I remember right. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
But
have
the
to.
restaurant party is the big party a lot of people attend, and I think that's Wednesday or
That's-
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, the Infocom party is on Tuesday. AV Rookie is
Uh,
after the Infocom party.
Oh,
Okay.
geez.
Yeah,
yeah, I
9 p.m. AV Roki, 9 p.m. It's a Facebook.
gonna-
I got an event on Facebook.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've been
I'll
invited
have
to it. I told him 10.
I'll have to make sure I sleep on the plane on the way down, so that way I can be well rested for Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So
Note to self, Tim, for your first Infocom, very
Yeah.
little sleep.
Yeah.
Get it when you can,
okay,
'cause
so
it's
I'm
very-
I'm bringing my emergency along with that as well, because I'm gonna be down in vitamins, so I don't get sick during this whole
too.
thing too. So
Pretty much, yes.
I've always
going down
wondered why.
I'm going down
Well,
there.
it-
I think it was pretty fast.
well, it's gonna be interesting, definitely for certain. No matter who shows up, no matter what happens, whatever October brings, it's gonna be interesting. And yeah, so yeah, I would plan on having some sort of AV life at some point. I can go live on YouTube, so you know what? In preparation over the next couple of months, make sure you become a follower subscribe to the AV Life on YouTube and on Twitter. We'll have everything out that way. And yeah, so keep a watch out here. Again, thank you to all our guests. And keep an eye on Twitter. We'll tag these guys out there. And until our next adventure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No
Thanks.
problem. Enjoy.